So yesterday I reviewed Aquaman, and in that review I said that I saw two movies yesterday. I saw Aquaman and I saw Bumblebee, the sixth movie in the Transformers film universe, but it is a prequel to the first Transformers and it takes place in 1987. And boy, does this movie hammer over your head that it takes place in the 80s, but we'll talk about that here later. This is the sixth movie, like I said, in the Transformers franchise, a franchise that I love Transformers, but the Transformers live-action movies directed by Michael Bay have been less than stellar, and I'm being nice when I say it. Those of you who have been longtime subscribers, you remember how much I despised Transformers The Last Night. I absolutely hate that film. It has no redeeming qualities at all except for one or two small things. But with Bumblebee, it's different. Things have changed. Even though Michael Bay is still producing the film, the movie is not directed by Michael Bay, and you can tell when watching this movie that Michael Bay needs to go. I'm not a Michael Bay hater. I swear to you I'm not. I'm not one of those guys that thinks he's irredeemable because he has made some good movies like Armageddon, like The Rock. I like Bad Boys. You know, he's made good movies, and Transformers 1 is a decent movie, and Transformers 3 is too. And by the way, you can check out my complete Transformers retrospective podcast. I'm going to leave a link down below to that on the Geekdom 101 podcast. Me and Morrow Media got together to do that. So this movie's directed by Travis Knight, which is his first live-action movie, and the difference between Michael Bay and Travis Knight's directing is incredible. It's like night and day. Michael Bay is so much more experienced than Travis Knight, but when you watch this movie, you would think that Travis Knight would school this guy in every kind of filmmaking class you could think of. The movie actually has a decent tone. The movie has great pacing. The movie has a great backstory. And like Aquaman and Dragon Ball Super Broly and so many other movies, it starts out with a flashback of the past, the battle on Cybertron, way back. And I love it because it feels like an episode of the TV series when you're watching this, the way it's choreographed, the way it's shot, and unlike the other Transformers movies, this one is way more colorful. So that's how the movie starts, and then it eventually ends up leading to, you know, the battle coming to Earth with Bumblebee coming to Earth, B-127, and meeting Charlie Watson, who is the main human character of this movie. Now, first and foremost, Charlie Watson is played by Haley Steinfeld, and I have to say right off the hop, she is the best human protagonist we've had in this entire film franchise. You know, nothing against Shia LaBeouf or Mark Wahlberg, but the writing for those characters was deplorable. This character of Charlie Watson has had a tragedy happen to her. She can find something to relate to with Bumblebee, who also had tragedies happen. She is a likable character, in some ways a lovable character who has to overcome her own fear and overcome what's holding her back to kind of really be happy in life. So that is fantastic, I think. It's a great character. John Cena plays Jack Burns, the secondary main character. He's an agent for the government, and he is fine. I mean, he's not the greatest, most compelling actor ever, but when you're playing somebody who's, you know, a military serious guy, John Cena's pretty good at it. I mean, don't forget that this guy was in, you know, the Marine and 12 Rounds, and he's decent at doing these kinds of characters. You know, he was also in a reality show ages ago before he even like was a big WWE star. So I mean, he's always been like, you know, good at doing sort of the serious stuff, and he's fine in the movie. But really what shines in this movie is the story of Bumblebee and how the character's portrayed and how this movie feels different. It's not just a bunch of random vignettes spliced together with crap editing. That's what Transformers movies are. Really bad editing. This movie is charming. This movie's compelling. It has a great main character. Bumblebee is a really fun protagonist. And I was worried that when I watched this movie, I was going to miss the other Transformers because they're in the beginning, but they're not in the later stuff. Well, it looks like it didn't matter to me because of how well written Bumblebee was and the story around him. He, of course, has to battle Shatter and Dropkick, who are the two kind of main villains, you know, of this film. And I'm telling you right now, again, it actually irritates me because if Travis Knight had directed all of these movies, they probably would have been a gazillion times better. The fights in this film, one of my biggest complaints about the Transformers movies is that when characters fight, when you see the Transformers fight, there's too much going on the screen at once. There's too much CGI. It becomes this big clustered mess where you have to either rewind the Blu-ray or just try to focus because it's hard to watch. There's so many things going on. It's very loud, very noisy, very annoying. In this movie, he streamlines it. The battles in this movie are so good. At the end of the film, there's a fight between Dropkick and Bumblebee. That's my favorite fight ever in any of these Transformers live action movies. It's my favorite one. And man, there are so many cool little homages to the classic freaking Transformers movie and TV show. I'm not going to spoil it because it's going to pop the old school fans. If you haven't seen it yet and you go see it, you will enjoy the little homages to the previous films. The one thing that this movie had, that Bumblebee has, that the other Transformers movies have lacked, is heart. The movie has an incredible amount of heart, whether it be from Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Charlie's parents. The movie has heart. It feels good, and that's something that I'm happy about. You know, it's really a good Transformers movie. I can't believe it that I'm saying that, but it is. It feels more like Transformers than any other movie before it. Now, what did I not like about the movie? Okay, there's a couple of scenes that could have been cut out or maybe restructured. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but Charlie has a couple of scenes that seemed kind of unnecessary with her trying to figure things out. There's some comedy here that doesn't really hit the mark. There's some good, slapstick comedy with Bumblebee kind of destroying things on accident that I thought was kind of funny. But the one thing that did kind of annoy me about the film is that the movie takes place in 1987 and they hammer over your head that it's an 80s movie. Whether it be with the music, whether it be with the product placement, the TV show references. They talk about shows from the 80s. They play 80s songs that were new at the time in 87. And I understand them wanting to hammer home that it takes place in the 80s, but they really got it to where it was annoying. Like, it got to the point where it was like unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, hey guys, this is the 80s. Check out this 80s song you might remember. Or check out this old TV show. Or check out this and that. And it got incredibly cheesy, man, to be honest with you. It really got cheesy. Like, it got to the point where it's like, and I love 80s music. The music in this movie is great. Don't get me wrong. And one thing that Travis Knight did is that he made the movie try to feel like an 80s movie. The way that the music is edited into the film, the way that the characters kind of like walking and you have music playing in the background to reflect the emotions. Obviously, films do that, but this kind of loud, boisterous sort of 80s techno vibe is missing from movies because we live in 2018, but in this film, it's almost like he wanted to make a tribute to these old 80s films, like maybe the first Transformers movie or movies that came out around that time, because technically this movie takes place a year after 86, and 86 is when Transformers, the theatrical motion picture came out, which is a great freaking movie. Go see that one. But I will say, without spoiling that, there are some plot holes that I picked up on when you try to mix it with the other 5 Transformers movies. There are some things that I'm confused about, and maybe it's just me not remembering everything, but the stuff I do remember from the other 5 movies does contradict the events that happen here completely. So I don't know if this is supposed to be a reboot or not. I'm not sure. I don't think that it's a prequel, but it just felt like they were changing things, and that was a little weird. But the movie is the most Transformers-esque movie of the Transformers live-action franchise, and actually the best one. Without question, this is the best Transformers live-action movie we have gotten. Is it a great movie? I would say it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. It's not one you're going to be watching a million times, but it's a good, easy-to-watch movie. A decent, holiday movie, I think, and one that was surprisingly just... I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be real with you. I'm actually kind of pissed off that I like this movie so much, and you're probably wondering why. I'm pissed off because it took them 6 tries to get it right. 6 tries. And again, like I said in the podcast with Mayo, I don't hate Transformers 1 or 3. I think they're decent movies. They're not terrible, but I think they're okay for what they are. But 2, 4, and 5 are absolute trash, in my opinion. And it just irritates me that they've gone on with this franchise because it makes money and people watch it over and over and over again and haven't delivered on a truly good movie. And to me, this is a good movie. I enjoyed this more than Transformers 1, and I like Transformers 1. I really liked it, and it's just, it irritates me because why did it take so long? Like, geez. But you know what? Better late than never, right? I'm curious about if they're going to reboot this whole thing or not, if they're going to go with Bumblebee, but either way, this movie does fit into that same Michael Bay universe, but there are plot holes, so be wary of those. That might take the movie down a notch. Like I said, it's a good movie, but not the best. Still, if you go see it, I don't think you'll be disappointed, especially if you're a fan of the Transformers and Bumblebee. It's a good family film, so you can take your kids to go see it or your little brother or whatever. It's not really super vulgar at all. Not really at all. It's like the cleanest one because Michael Bay likes to put controversial things in his movies. In this one, it was like it felt like an actual movie that was meant to appeal to a lot of people, not just, Bayisms with explosions and trying to cram all this crap into a movie that doesn't even matter, doesn't even mean anything. This movie felt, like there was only a small amount of stuff that could have been cut. Everything else felt fine. Plus, it's not like 3 hours long like the other ones are, so that is a plus. Anyways, check out Bumblebee. I would probably see Aquaman ahead of this one, but if you got some extra time, check it out. It's not boring. It's fun. The characters are great. It's the best live-action Transformers we have gotten so far. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Leave comments about what you think about Bumblebee.